Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone, it's Zainab. Welcome back to my daily reading of Nahjul Balagha. So today I want to read to you sermon number 27 inshallah, which is about, it's the sermon that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam called people to rise up in jihad against Muawiya, who was governor of Syria at the time, and he was kind of a rebellious leader, Muawiya, I mean, and he was, it happened after the Battle of Siffin, which occurred after the assassination of the third Caliph, Uthman, and Muawiya was a kinsman of Uthman, so he refused to acknowledge and pay allegiance to Imam Ali as the Caliph, as the fourth Caliph, because he was a kinsman of the third Caliph, Uthman, who was assassinated. And he was Uthman was assassinated by Egyptian rebels, I believe. So anyways, there was the Battle of Siffin, and then after the Battle of Siffin, and the Battle of Siffin was between Muawiya and Imam Ali, and in order to avoid defeat on Muawiya's side, they came to a truce. So there was no one won, they just came to a truce, and they decided that because Muawiya didn't want to be defeated, because if they kept going he would have been, and so that truce kind of made Muawiya's people stand behind him more, because they wanted him to win. And it also made Imam Ali look more weak, because he came to a truce instead of winning. Do you know what I mean? So it made Ali look weaker in the eyes of the people, and it made Muawiya kind of made himself look stronger somehow. Anyways, so there's a sermon that was delivered by Imam Ali alayhi salam. I'll just read you a bit of commentary first. It says, after the Battle of Siffin, Muawiya had spread killing and bloodshed all around. Like I said, he was a rebellious leader. He started encroachments on cities within Amir al-Mu'mineen's domain. In this regard, he tricked Sufyan ibn Auf al-Ghamidi, who then supplied him with a force of 6,000 to attack Hit, which is a city, Al-Anbar and Al-Madain. So those are all cities, I believe, all located in western and northern Iraq. First, he reached Al-Madain, which is south of present-day Baghdad. Finding it deserted, he proceeded to the Al-Anbar area. There, a contingent of 500 soldiers was posted as guards from Amir al-Mu'mineen's side, but it could not resist Muawiya's fierce army. Only 100 men held their positions, facing the invaders as stoutly as they could. But collecting together, the enemy's force made such a severe attack that these men too could no more resist. The chief of the contingent, Hassan ibn Hassan al-Bakri, was killed along with 30 others. When the battlefield was clear, the enemy ransacked Al-Anbar at will and left the city completely destroyed. When Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam received the reports of this attack, he ascended the pulpit and exhorted the people to crush the enemy. As in, he called for the people to rise up in jihad against Muawiya and his forces, calling them to wage jihad. Jihad means, for those of you who are unsure or don't know what jihad means, it's a very contentious, is that the word? Word, because a lot of people don't actually understand what it means and think it's something bad. But really it just means standing up for what you know is right. And if that means taking up arms, then that means taking up arms. But in the general sense of the word, it just means standing up for what you know is right, as in justice. and sometimes that means taking up arms and fighting. Because if you're fighting for your land, if you're fighting for your home, if you're fighting for your family, your dignity, your religion, because if you don't, then someone's going to kill you or take your lands or destroy your home or kill your family, then you gotta fight. You gotta fight, and this is called jihad. But there are other non-violent forms of jihad as well. Jihad by using your words, debating, spreading awareness, protesting, peaceful protests, even like things like fundraising, donating to causes, are forms of jihad. Just spreading awareness, going on social media to spread awareness, handing out flyers with information about the issue. In that way, you're spreading awareness too. These are all forms of jihad. So Islamophobes have used this word and made it into something really evil and used it against Muslims and Islam, when really it's something honorable. Okay, anyways, so the commentary continues. Okay, so he called the people up to rise up in jihad against the enemy, who was just going around reaping havoc in the land, just killing everything that moved. However, from no quarter was there any voice or response. He descended from the pulpit. So he made a speech, right? And that's the sermon that I'm about to read to you. After he delivered that sermon, he descended from the pulpit, utterly disgusted and worried. While still in the same mood, he set off for the enemy on foot. When people observed this, they awakened their sense of self-respect and shame, following their leader and caliph. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam stopped at a Nukaila, which is presently part of the Kifl city in Hilla, which is Babylon governorate. So I guess it was part of Babylon at the time, maybe, which is south of current day Baghdad. People then surrounded him and insisted that he should return, as they had enough troops to face the enemy. When their insistence increased beyond reckoning, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam consented to return. He was going to take them on single-handedly. He consented to return, and Sa'id ibn Qais al-Hamdani proceeded forward with a force of 8,000 strong. But Sufyan ibn Auf al-Ghamidi had by then gone, and I think he was the enemy, had by then gone. So Sa'id returned without any encounter. So that was that. Okay, so now I'm going to read to you the sermon that he delivered to the people in order to try and get them to rise up in jihad against the killing machine. All right. So sermon number 27. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Surely jihad is one of the gates of paradise which Allah has opened for his main friends. It is the outfit of piety and the protective armor of Allah, his trustworthy shield. One who abandons it is covered by Allah with the outfit of disgrace and is clothed with distress. He is kicked out of the mercy of Allah with contempt and scorn. His heart is covered with screens of neglect. Truth is taken away from him because of missing jihad. He has to suffer ignominy, I can't pronounce that word. Ignominy, sorry, I got there in the end. Ignominy, I think. And justice is denied to him. Beware, I have called you insistently to fight these people night and day, secretly and openly, exhorting you to attack them before they attack you, because by Allah, no people have been attacked in the hearts of their houses except that they suffered disgrace. But you put it off for others and forsook it till destruction befell you and your cities were occupied. The horsemen of Banu Hamid have reached Al-Anbar and killed Hassan ibn Hassan al-Bakri. They have removed your horsemen from their garrison. I have come to know that every one of them forced himself on Muslim women and other women under the protection of Islam, as in they did it in the name of Islam, thinking that in doing so, by invoking the name of Allah, it would protect them from the punishment of the sin that they committed. Astaghfirullah. Taking away their jewelry from their legs, arms, necks, and ears. No woman can tolerate it except by remembering and pronouncing this verse, which is from Quran, chapter 2, ayah number 156. We belong to Allah, and to Allah shall we return. Then they returned laden with wealth, as in the men who pillaged the cities and did that to the women. They returned laden with wealth, without any wound or loss of life. If any Muslim individual dies of grief after all this, he is not blamed, but rather I justify it. I justify the death of grief that a Muslim dies after this in grief, and he's justifying that death, is what he means. How strange, by Allah, my heart sinks to see the unity of these people in their wrongdoings and your dispersion from doing what is right. May woe and grief befall you. You have become the target at which arrows are shot. You are being killed and you do not kill. You do not stand up and fight to protect yourselves. That's what he means. You are being attacked, but you do not attack. Allah is being disobeyed, and you remain satisfied with it. When I ask you to move against them in the summer, you say that it is too hot. Spare us until the heat subsides from us. When I order you to march in the winter, you say that it is severely cold. Give us time until the cold clears away. These are just excuses of evading heat or cold, because if you run away from heat and cold, you will be, by Allah, running away in a greater degree from the sword and from war. O you semblance of men, not men. Yeah, that's what it says. O you semblance of men, not men. You men who aren't men. Like he's insulting them for not standing up like men. Your intelligence is that of children. Your wits are those of the occupants of the curtained canopies, kept in seclusion from the outside world, where women are. Women kept in seclusion from the outside world. So that's where they stay, because they're not part of the war. That's where they stay. They're protected there, right? But you men who are supposed to be up in the front lines fighting, protecting these women, you want to be in there with the women. He's insulting them. Okay. I wish I had neither seen you nor come to know you. By Allah, this acquaintance has brought about shame and resulted in repentance. May Allah fight you. You have filled my heart with pus and loaded my bosom with rage. You made me drink mouthful after mouthful of grief. You shattered my counsel by disobeying and leaving me, so much so that Quraysh started saying that the son of Abu Talib is brave but does not know the tactics of war. Allah bless them. Is there anyone among them who is fiercer in the war and more experienced in it than I am? I rose for it although still in my 20s, and here I am, having passed 60, but one who is not obeyed can have no opinion. And then, as I read to you before, he then descended from the pulpit, completely disgusted with his people for not obeying him when he called them to jihad and fighting the enemy who was just spreading across the land, killing and raping women and plundering their wealth. So he gave them a little lecture, and then he went off on foot by himself, and he was about to face the enemy single-handedly by himself until the people finally woke up and joined him. So the bravery of Imam Ali alayhi salam is unmatched. Well, his sons, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, especially Imam Hussein, was definitely as brave. And who taught him? Who did he learn from? He learned it from Imam Ali himself and his grandfather, the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, peace be upon him and his family. So I hope you've taken a little pearl of wisdom from today's sermon by Imam Ali alayhi salam, and I hope you'll join me again tomorrow for another one, inshallah. Okay, stay blessed and stay tuned.